Hello, hello, hello! Thank you all for joining me today. It's my usual Thursday. I'm going to try and continue doing these on Thursdays. And I want to show you guys an awesome stamp set today that I have been loving. Let me just go ahead and get... Sorry, I hope that's not shining. Let me see if... I'll just set it up there for now. Okay, let me get logged in so I can see everything okay. Awesome. Looks like I am way crooked, so let's try and, whoops, straighten things just a little bit here. Whoops. I don't like hearing myself on there. Okay, that made it worse. Let me stand up so I can see in my actual screen. Okay. We'll come down a little closer so we can see. Okay. We're going to call that good, I hope. That's not too off. I think that looks pretty good. Okay. I'm going to show you guys about this new stamp set. Well, it's new to me. It's not one that I would have picked out normally in the catalog, but I actually have seen, so I've seen some things made with it, and what really caught my eye was this eucalyptus. I just love it. It's so pretty, and I just wanted to make something with it. The rest of it didn't, I mean, this little one is nice for like a filler, but it just wasn't really like, it didn't catch my eye in the catalog when I first saw it. But like I said, I've seen a few things made with it, so I went ahead and ordered it just to have it for some filler with other things that I'm making. And then I was looking at it one day and I was just like, what can I make with just this stamp set? Like, I just want to use this one stamp set and that's it, nothing else. So I started thinking, and I really liked this, like, it kind of just built off of this section here, and I was like, I want to kind of make stuff that goes around the edges, and definitely use that eucalyptus, because it's so pretty. Excuse me, I need a drink really quick. I should have sat down and caught my breath before I just got started. Okay, so what I came up with was this card. I started just right away, stamped the centerpiece that I wanted, and then kind of built it from what I wanted, from the things that I wanted to add on there. But when I got finished, it just felt really dirty looking, you know, like these sections here are just really, really dark. And I just thought, man, and I didn't like how it just seemed kind of dirty because like these little spots came in, overlapped a little bit, you know, which isn't bad. I mean, it kept it pretty clean for the most part, but it just kind of bugged me a little bit. So I thought, you know, I'm going to make the masks for a few things. I didn't want to mask off all this. Oh my gosh, some of it would be ridiculous. But I figured some of the big things I'll try and mask off. So what I only did was the hexagon. And then also the, I'm sorry, I'm like, is that really a hexagon? I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, because octagon would be 8, so hexagon, yes. 6 sides. So yeah, the hexagon I cut out and made a mask for. Then I also did it for the flowers and for these big leaves here. And so the next card that I made turned out so much better once I masked off that area. It kept it really nice and clean. I masked off these flowers, which kept the eucalyptus behind it instead of coming over the front of it. And also this leaf here, which it wasn't too bad. I just wanted where it came together here to not be so dark. So that's why I wanted to mask off a little bit more for the eucalyptus to go behind the stuff there. And I think it just came out so much prettier. And I was like, man, I love this layout. And so I had to make more of them. I ended up making a couple more. I made this one just with some different colors. And then yesterday, I actually made this one. I wanted to go with something kind of bright to brighten it up a lot more. And so this has the Melon Mambo and Bermuda Bay in there. This is more the Calypso Coral and Mint Macaron. And this has the Rich Razzleberry and Granny Apple Green. So, excuse me. So we're going to do another version of this today. I'm going to show you how I made it. And they all have like the exact same layout. I used the same exact stamps and the exact same layout. And then on the inside, I did the inside to match as well. So, sorry, I hope that, let me see if I can make that a little bit less blurry. There it goes. So, hopefully, everything's a little bit behind, so yeah, there you go. You can see how the insides match, all the front of them. And you could make the envelope to match as well, but I didn't for this one. Usually I do make envelopes, but this has so many pieces to it and it takes quite a while. So let's just get started because my son is going to be coming home soon. One of them is taking a nap right now, the 11-month-old, and the 9-year-old is going to be coming home from school soon. So I'm trying to squeeze this video in between, because then after that we're going to have baseball practice tonight. So, alright, so this is the stamp set, and as you can see in here, I have a lot of masks that I have cut. And yesterday, okay, so when I first started, these are all just sticky notes. I used these 2 sticky note sets, and I used this one for the big hexagon at first, and then I was like, oh, all these smaller ones. What I really did was I wanted to see which one had the most sticky. So when I looked at the back of it, this one actually had a wider sticky section. So that's what I used for the smaller ones and just stamped as far up to the top as I could and cut them out. Then when I wanted to make some more for this video, it was like, man, I need a lot more. So I decided to take just like 4 of these, take it off, and then stamp on that, and then just cut it out as one piece, which worked really well for the hexagon, because now I have, you know, like 5 or so of these hexagons, and I can just pull one off and use them. And then it worked really good for the flowers too, because they're sticky on like 3 petals, and then 2 of them aren't, so you can pull them apart there, and I have like 5 of them there too, and another set of 5, and then a bunch, so I have a lot of them now. It didn't work as well with the leaves. I wanted to try and cut this piece out as one full piece, but it doesn't work very well. Down here it gets really thin, and if you did it by itself it probably would work okay, but it wasn't working well with mine, because so these were the ones that I tried to cut it with, and this section up here was on the sticky, like that's all I could get on the sticky, and so these 2 weren't sticky, and so they were just fraying everywhere and not sticking to the paper, so I had to cut them out anyways. Anyway, if you want to learn how to cut out the stencils and stuff, let me know. I'll make a little video showing you guys how to do that. It's pretty self-explanatory though. Like I said, if you just use the sticky notes, stamp on there, cut it out. Okay, so these are all the stamps we're going to use today. Pretty much all of the floral ones except for, so like on the first one I did use this one in the middle with the 3 little buds or whatever you'd call it at the end. But I just didn't like it so much, and it didn't show up very well, so I just decided to take that one out. I didn't use the little leaf, but all the other things I used. And then you can do whichever. I also didn't use the dots, but you could totally put them in there easily. I just didn't want it to get totally overwhelmed. It has a lot of stuff in there anyways. And then I did it with each one of the different greetings in the middle. Thankful we're friends, to a happy future ahead, and wishing you the best day ever. So all 3 of them fit very well in there, and look great in there. So any one that you want to pick is a good one. I already have the to a happy future ahead on a stamp block, because that's the one I made yesterday, and it's graduation time anyways, so why not? That'd be a good saying for any graduating student this year. We could, so let's make a graduation card. So we're going to start with a piece of, I almost said whisper white, basic white. And this is cut to 5 by 3 3/4. And we're going to stamp on this. So one thing I do need to do is figure out which colors I'm going to use. And I should have thought of that before. I know, okay, I kind of thought of it a little bit. I wanted to use a dark green, and I think I wanted to use like a, I don't know, I'm torn between the flowers, whether I wanted to do like a purple or a red. I think I'm going to go with, I can't decide. I think I'm going to go with the Poppy Parade. Let's do that one. I think actually what I'll do is maybe try to copy the same colors of the very first one that I was making. And so I used the Poppy Parade, I think, or is it the real red? I think it's Poppy Parade. We're just going to go with that. And then I used the Evening Evergreen for the eucalyptus. I used this Pale Papaya for the little fill-ins. And then I think I used the Bermuda Bay for the outside of the flower. I'm trying to decide if I want to switch that up, though. No, I think we'll just keep it the same. We'll just do the same. And then I used the mint macaron for the inside of the leaf. I'm sorry, I think I said flower earlier, but I meant leaf. So, these are the colors we're going to use, and we're just going to leave out the yellow that I had used in it. Let me see. I'm thinking about actually switching up the peach for the yellow. No, we'll stick with it. These are the colors we're going to use. So we have Mint Macaron, Bermuda Bay, Pale Papaya, Poppy Parade, Evening Evergreen. So we're going to start with the darkest one, and we're going to do our hexagon with that. So we're going to use our Evening Evergreen, and we're going to ink that up, and we're just going to try and center it. It doesn't have to be exact. I kind of use my grid paper here to kind of keep it straight, and then I just use that bottom line to line up down here so my head's hopefully not in the way. And then I kind of just try to center it from side to side. It doesn't have to be exact. You just don't want it like extremely cockeyed. Alright, there we go. Alright, so we can close up our Evening Evergreen. The next thing we're going to grab is our Poppy Parade. Okay, so what I forgot is we got to use our masks through this the whole time. So now that we've put the hexagon down, I'm going to dry it over on the side for a second just so I can stick the mask to it. I'm sorry. I'm so bad at talking and doing things at the same time. Alright, so we're going to set that right over the top. And it's really just sticky at the top there, but it stays down pretty good. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is the flowers. And so we're going to do the flowers in the Poppy Parade. I need to re-ink this one. It's nice and dark, but it's so sticky. Okay, so we don't want to push too hard because there are some spots in between the petals that get on the paper sometimes, and then we have to try and cover them up. It's not horrible, but it's not really pretty, so I try not to get it on there. So what I do is take two petals and kind of put them on that corner right there, and I try not to go over too much. I try really not to get on the paper at all, on the mask, because I don't want a line on my stamp, because I'm going to re-stamp it again right now. I want to turn it a little bit from wherever it was, and this one doesn't matter as much if it goes over. I'm going to stamp that down towards some lighter color. And see, I pushed too hard. That's how I got those little pieces in between, which that's why I was saying don't push too hard. But it, like I said, it's okay if that happens. We'll cover it up with some of the filler around it. So now we're going to do that on the bottom side. The same thing, we're going to do it on this corner down here. And we're just going to put two petals kind of on that corner, and then we'll turn it and do another one right up here. Alright, so we can put the Poppy Parade away. We are done with that one for now. Alright, I'm still going to kind of fan this because I want to do this fast. Usually I'll just kind of take a minute to let it dry in between. But I want to kind of do this fast for you guys today. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is take our masks for our flowers and put them on there. And I just kind of use these till they don't want to stick anymore, and then I'll throw that one away and get a new one. This one's not covering as well as I want it to. There we go. That's better. So it has one petal that's very distinctive and stands out. This one here that has that point, and so that's the one I use. That's the quickest to kind of line everything up. I forgot this one got a little close to the edge, and that part right there is just a straight line and doesn't go out. So I'm not going to use that one. I'm going to grab one of these other ones I have. Whoops. And some of these you can still see the outline of the flower, and I did that on purpose because a lot of times when you stamp over the edge of something, it makes like a little white spot, and I'll show you, hold on, I'll show you in just a second on one of my other cards. It still happens a little bit with these, but I tried to cut it a little bit small so it doesn't happen as much. I'm trying to look for a spot. So like here, sort of, you can see how it's kind of got a little bit of a white line around there. And that's just, it doesn't get as close to the flower because of the mask. And this one, you can't see it as well, but it should have gone all the way to that flower and have some green a little bit further in. And, but like I said, you have to look really close, so it really doesn't matter. When you look at these, they're beautiful cards as they are. So, like I said here, this little spot, you know, shows sometimes, and usually I'll try and cover it up. Like on this one here, I thought it was this one. Yeah, there's like some spots in between, and like I said, sometimes you can cover them up with the dark and not be able to see it, but it really isn't that big a deal when that happens. Like I said, I just kind of try to go over that spot with something else, so it just kind of covers it up. The only part is bad when something like that happens, and I didn't notice until after the card was done that I didn't cover that part up. But here's another section where you can kind of see, hopefully that's close enough, but you can see where I obviously didn't get close enough up by the leaf there with the purple, so it kind of leaves a little space of white. So when you cut your masks, you want to cut them just a tiny bit smaller than the actual, you know, flower or leaf or whatever it is, so that way you can get as close as you can to it. Okay, so the next thing we're going to use is our Bermuda Bay. And we're going to use that with the outline stamp of the large set of leaves. And this is just the outline that we're going to do in the Bermuda Bay. And I kind of, where this corner is here, I kind of put that on the hexagon to where the leaves stick up through the top. So I want that corner to kind of be on the corner there, but that leaf to still show, so I kind of pull it out a little bit. And then we're going to flip it around, do the same thing on the other side. Pretty much what we're doing is exactly the same, a mirror image on both sides of what we're doing, which makes it easier. So we're not going to put away our Bermuda Bay because we're going to use that for one of our other ones later on. But we're going to go ahead and be done with that stamp. We're going to grab our mint macaron and our fill-in stamp for that big one. Okay. And this actually lines up pretty easy. I get it down really close because it almost seems too big for it at first. But I just go slowly and set it down on top of it, and it fills it in really nicely. Sometimes like the top lines up and the bottom's not quite lined up, so I just kind of keep looking at all 4 leaves back and forth. And see there, you can see that little line, so it didn't get very close. Alright. But like I said, you don't really see it so much in the whole collage of things at the end. Alright, so now we're going to take our last mask and put it on these. So I got to where these two, like I said, would stick together. So we'll put this over the top here. Maybe. It doesn't want to stick. The ink is so fresh, I forgot to dry it good. Sometimes that ruins my mask, because then it kind of makes the sticky part wet on the back. Makes it not stick very well. And sometimes these pull up when we're stamping over the top of them, you'll see in a little bit. So just make sure you watch for that as you're doing it. Alright, so we still want to cover these 2 little leaves, and I have the individual, the individual ones to do that. Alright, we are almost done with this part. Almost done with the masking part. That's the part that takes so long to me, is trying to line these up. But, I mean, it really does make a difference, as you saw from the beginning. That beginning, I mean, it just really was muddied down and dirty on the inside there. See, this part of this mask is just sticking up, and I think it's going to make a white spot where I don't want it. So I'm going to, whoops, actually cut that section. All right. And that one moved on me. See, like I said, this is the hardest part, trying to get all these sticky notes to stay just over their spot. Okay. Now, we're going to take the foliage stamp, this one right here, and we're going to use that with Pale Papaya. And this we're going to use kind of as a little filler in between stuff. So we're going to use one, I want one to come out between the flowers here, for sure, on both sides. And then I also want one to come out of the corner, sort of, here. Let's see. Sort of, yeah, just up in the corner. And then see how this part right here is kind of empty? We want to just sort of stamp right over that and fill all that space in. We're going to do that on the other side. Kind of right out from the top. And then we want to fill in all that space right there. All right. Now, we are going to grab our Evening Evergreen. And we're going to grab the Eucalyptus, my favorite piece. This is like the whole reason I bought this stamp set. There's just nothing else like it. Like, if you want to try and make a card that has something like this in it, there's just no other stamps that I have, at least, that that you can use instead of. Okay, so I'm going to show you, like, I use this stamp twice as well. So I stamp one in full strength, and then one that's second generation, and then another one that's full generation. And I do the same thing on the other side. And then I kind of just fill in the top and bottom wherever I feel like it needs it. Like, you can tell with these, they're different. It's not exactly the same how I filled it in, but similar. So, we want to go over the leaves first, which when you put ones back down that you've already used before, you can kind of see where you've used them. But we want to do this one over the leaves there. Oops, I almost stamped it again. We want to do a second generation stamping before we stamp it again. Okay. And then again down here. And then the second generation. Oops, and see, there's one of my... It's a good thing, because we don't really... Actually, we're going to take these off after this shortly. We're almost done with them. But just be careful, after you've stamped on this and you put them back down, you're going to have green on your fingertips. And I've ruined a couple of my cards. You can see right there, I got some green on there, so I'm going to have to cover that with one of my next stickers. So the only thing you have to be careful about is the ink coming off of those masks and sticking to you. I almost did it again. Okay. We're almost there, guys. Okay, all our masks are still on, so we're just going to fill in a little bit here and there. Like right here, I smudged and got some ink on there, so we're just going to put some eucalyptus up here and cover over that spot. And I don't even know. Alright. I don't even know which one's the top and bottom anymore. I spin this thing so much. But the only way I know which is the top and bottom is usually with the hexagon, I put the sticky part at the top. But in the end, it really does not matter. So what we're going to do now is take all of these pieces of masks off. And we'll start with the leaves. This is where you really get to reveal the beauty, because like I said, right now, it looks like a hot mess. But you get to see the beauty come through instead of stamping over the top of all of that. We get to keep and preserve the beauty. See, there's the spot where that came through and I wasn't able to cover it with the greenery that I put around it. But like I said, that's okay because I don't think anybody will notice. Only me, and you have to look for it sometimes even after you know it's there. So I know that the masking, it does take time to put them on and take them off, but like I said, I think it's very well worth it. And if you only just make them once and keep them in the stamp set like I do, then you only have to do it that one time. Alright, we're going to leave this one on. I'm going to show you, like, it's still stuck on there, but we're going to leave it on for now because we have a little bit more stamping to do. And this last stamp, we're going to use the Bermuda Bay that I said to keep out. And we're going to go over the top of this flower, which is why we could take all the masking off. This one's going to be something that's on the top, and that's okay. And we're going to go straight out the end of our point here. And we're going to do one stamp and then a second generation off to the side a little bit. And then we're going to do the other side the same way. One in the middle, straight out of the point, and then a second generation off to the side of it. Okay, and that's it for that one. Now, all we have left to do is decide what color we want to stamp our sentiment in. Now, I want to show you the difference because, like I said, I used the exact same colors that I used in my first one. If I can find it, here it is. The same colors I used in the first one, and look how much prettier it looks with all the masking done rather than just stamping over the top. It just really made it so much muddier looking. I didn't do, like I said, the yellow sprigs that came out of the center of the flower. I just filled it in a little bit more with background leaf and a couple of eucalyptus sprigs. But I think it looks a lot better not covering that flower as much because, like I said, it just muddied it down a lot. And it not being such a dark spot from the eucalyptus, I kind of like it being in the background. But isn't that just beautiful? I love the way it came out. So we're going to do our sentiment in. I think I decided I wanted to do like a red border, because see how we have the border for all these? I think I'm going to do a red border and this dark green. So I think we're going to do our sentiment in the Evening Evergreen. So let me grab that one. We'll stamp it, or we'll ink it up, and then hopefully, and I've been moving this page a lot, I'm going to move this a little bit closer. Hopefully my head's not in the way. Alright, and then you just want to center it. Hold it for a second, let the ink transfer, especially when you have big letters like that. You always want to hold it for a second because the worst thing is taking it off and then having patches in the letters where the ink didn't transfer completely. So you got to just hold it there for a second to where you can get a nice transfer. And that looks pretty good. All right. So we're going to set that to dry for a second. We're going to set that off to the side, and I'm going to show you really quick. Let's see, I don't know, let me look at the time, how long we've been going for, and I can't see it, of course. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you real quick how to do the inside. I'm going to grab a scrap piece of paper. So this is a hot mess too, because I just used a scrap piece of paper. So I'm going to grab 2 pieces of cardstock of the white. I guess that's my last piece. I have these pieces pre-cut and ready to go. But this piece has something on it, so, well, maybe it came off. Oops. No, we'll just cut a new piece, because that one has something on it. Okay, so, we're going to cut some paper real quick. We are going to cut a piece of Evening Evergreen. Alright, we're going to cut a piece of Evening Evergreen, and we're going to take a full piece in there, put it right at 5.5. And cut that. And we're going to use that piece. I'm going to put the other piece back real quick. Hold on. And I'm going to grab a piece of Poppy Parade. I think I have a piece in here. Yeah, I have a piece that's close. Let's see. Where are we at? That's not big enough. That's not big enough. Darn it, it's just like a 1/4 of an inch. Not even a 1/4 of an inch. It was like 1/8 of an inch too short. Okay, so we're going to cut the Poppy Parade at, I think I'm going to do, no, we're going to make this easy. We're going to cut it, no. I can't decide. So for these other ones, usually I cut the inside piece right at 5 1/4 by 4. But instead, I'm going down just 1/8 of an inch to make it just a tiny bit skinnier. So I'm just trying to think in my head what that's going to be. Actually, it's not 1/8 of an inch, it's a 1/16 of an inch. So we're going to do 5 3/16. There we go. So 5 3/16 by 3 15/16. So like I said, it's just a 1/16 of an inch shorter than those normal sizes. I hope I didn't get... Oh, and I need to cut the white. That's right. That's right, that's right. I'd lose my brain if it wasn't attached. Alright. So we're going to cut this at 5 1/4. And then we're going to take that piece and we're going to make 2 pieces, each 4 inches. So these 2 pieces will be 5 1/4 by 4. Alright. So, just while we're here, I'm going to go ahead and take my Simply Scored board. Simply Scored board, and then I'm going to score this at 4 1/4, and I like to go over it about 3 times just to make sure it's nice and scored. And then we're going to fold that in half and use our bone folder give that a nice crease. All right. And I am just going to take a minute here. I do this to every one of my cards, so this is just out of habit. I shouldn't have done this actually on video, but whenever I make a card, sorry, I have a way of deciding which side I want to be the back or the front. Whenever I make a card, I always sell my cards. And so, Stampin' Up! Has a angel policy where you have to put like the copyright of Stampin' Up! Since it's their images that you're using for your cards. So on the back, or just somewhere on there, you need to put that little copyright sticker. And we actually have a whole stamp set. Let me actually find that. I don't remember which page it was on. I wish I could just go right to it, but I did find it the other day. They made a new one, because sometimes, like, you just have to know which of those stamp sets had it in there. Let me close this up really quick, because I just don't want it to be risk getting ink everywhere. So, in the book here, though, they put a new stamp set in, and I just saw it the other day when I was looking in here. Okay, so it's not back that far. I must have missed it somewhere. So yeah, if you decide that you want to sell your cards, if you just love making them as much as I do and make tons of them, then you can sell them, and that's totally fine. Stampin' Up! Just asks that you put their sticker on there. I wish I remembered what it was called, because I could just look it up in the back. I know which page, or which side of the page it was, or where it was at, though, so I'm kind of just trying to browse and find it. But I probably should have just told you about it, not wasted your time. I seriously like sat and looked through here so many times. Maybe it's towards the back. So yeah, they finally came out with a really cool new stamp set that has all kinds of sayings that, gosh, I really wish I could find it because I don't remember them all exactly. I just remember finding it and saying, oh, that's really cool that they came out with that. But yeah, it had a bunch of cool sayings, you know, like made with love. Oh, here it is. I found it. Of course, once I start telling you the stuff. So it has handcrafted from the heart, made with love, hand stamped, a paper hug from me, just for you, limited edition, a one-of-a-kind creation. And I think all of those are really cool things that you could put on the back or even the front. And they all have, except for the paper hug and the just for you, the rest of them all have that little Stampin' Up logo in there. And then here's the Stampin' Up logo copyright stamp also that you can use. So that's a set that you can use to put on the back of your cards. That's great to say this was hand stamped, you know, and then you can always sign it. Or we have stamp sets that have letters in them. This one is obviously just print. The one that I have, we actually don't have, it's not available anymore, but it was called Make a Difference. And it has like the cursive writing and stuff. So once you find one that you like, you can kind of make stuff that works for you too. You know, this one I liked that it had the double S's, so it worked with my name for Jessica. Sometimes they just don't have the right amount. They didn't have enough for me to put my last name, so I just put the T, you know, Jessica T. So you can kind of make up your own if you want to bad enough, or you can always order a stamp set, you know, with your name on there or whatever kind of stuff. So this is, whoops, I grabbed the wrong card. Where's the one I made today? Where did I put it? I covered it up with something else. Okay. Here we go. And that's what it's going to look like after. I think it's very pretty. My son just got home from school. Whoops, we're going to put this up here for later. I'm going to show you how to stamp the inside. Alright, so we're going to bring our paper back, and in our inside it's going to go like this, top and bottom. But I want the stuff to be on the bottom here and the top here. And if you flip this around, the top would be down here. And so we're just going to do the bottom of both corners. And with this one, we're going to start with the flower. So grab the Poppy Parade again. Oops. Alright. So we're going to do one kind of down in the corner and one above it, like we did on the front. See, that one didn't fill in that patch very well. I wonder if I could, do I dare? Filled it in a little bit. Okay. And then on the other side, same thing. Alright. Now we're going to let those dry for just a second so I can put the mask on them. Alright. And then all we have to do on the inside is mask these flowers, and that's it. We don't have to mask anything else. So it goes a little faster for sure. Trying to not get that ink on my fingers. Okay, now we got that part done. Alright, so we're going to bring in our Bermuda Bay. And we're going to go right through the middle here to where both those leaves are sticking out the top. This one down here, hold on. I gotta get my tweezers to get that out. I don't want to get my fingers all inky. See, I went too fast there, and I took off the mask with it. So let me grab a different mask and put on there. Okay. Back with the mint macaron. And we're going to fill in. I see a hair on there, which will totally ruin my image. Back to the tweezers. Alright, so now we gotta re-ink that, because I wiped half of it off. Sometimes these get little fuzzies or hairs on them that ends up making it ruin the whole image. Okay. So this card may be a little time consuming. You can see why I decided now not to do an envelope with it. I hope my head's not in the way. But yeah, I didn't want to do an envelope because, gosh, it took long enough as it is. See, that time the mask came off, but I grabbed it before we stuck it in the ink pad. Hello.
Hello.
I'm recording a video, just so you know.
You are?
I am. So whatever you say, the world will hear. Alright, so next we are going to grab our pale papaya and our little foliage stamp. And we're going to stamp down here on the bottom to fill in the corner. So we'll stamp twice there, and then once up from the flower on this side, and once up from the flower on this side. We'll do the same thing on the other one. All right. And now it's time to bring the eucalyptus back in. So we're going to grab our evening evergreen. All right. And we're kind of going to just do a fan this way. We're going to do the first one here, and then second generation next to it. And then further down, we'll do that one, and then the second generation next to it. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. My son's watching with you. He's very intrigued. You like this image, Frankie?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Alright. Okay, so we are done with the masks now. We can take the masks back off. And carefully, so we don't want to get the green ink all over our fingers. See if I can get the last one off. There we go. Alright, so there's our two pieces. We have one more stamp to use on them, but I want to, let's see, actually, yeah, let's pull back the Bermuda Bay, and we're going to use that same sprig we used last time. And I just think this part down here looks a little empty and needs a little something that's kind of going out to it. So we're going to kind of join this leaf here with this one, sort of, coming into it, and then we'll do another one off to the side with the second generation. And it doesn't have to be exact, you just kind of want to make it look like it goes out towards that way. And there we go. Our insides are stamped, and it will go like this in the card. So now all we have left is assembly of our card. Here's our inside pieces. And so if I did the envelope, I would do the same thing on the front of an envelope, but it would just take more time, so we don't want to spend the entire day. I am going to take a second, though, and try and wash my fingers. I think I'm going to run right around the corner of the bathroom, wash my fingers, and I'll be right back. Alright, I am back. Hopefully we got all the ink off the tips of my fingers. They kind of get stained a little bit, but hopefully we got it all off. So that way we don't end up smearing it. The worst thing is doing all this work and then end up smearing it at the end. So, in the very end, we have these two pieces to go on the inside. We have this one piece we stamped for the front with a background piece of Poppy Parade, and then we have the card base made out of the Evening Evergreen. So we're going to start assembling it. I'm going to set these two off to the side for a second because I just finished with them, and so I don't want to smear the ink. Alright, I'm going to take my, I just lost the name of it, my silicone sheet. I'm going to take my silicone sheet and my Stampin' Seal, and we're going to stick the front of our card to our piece of Poppy Parade. I need to tape down my grid sheet again because it just won't stay still. Alright. Gotta make sure it's all lined up. Okay, and then I'm going to flip it over to give it a good rub so we don't smear any ink if it's not dried yet. Alright, and then we're going to stick that down to our Evening Evergreen.
Sticky.
Sticky, yes. Alright. Alright, I'm going to turn that over again, just because I don't want to smear anything, but I want to give it a good seal. Alright, so now the insides. I'm not going to touch this corner. I'll kind of seal that in later. I just don't want to risk. There's a few of these I've ruined after I did all of this. So usually I kind of take a break in between. I'll let all this stuff sit and dry for a little while, and then I'll come back and put it together, because I just don't want to smear all that hard work. But I will risk it today for you guys, so you can see the finished product. Alright, so there we go. Here is our card. What do you guys think?
To a happy future ahead.
Yes, to a happy future ahead. And I like how these colors turned out. They're really pretty.
Whoa.
I'll bring in the other ones that we did. And you can see how much you can mix it up. Just grab some different colors, and I'm going to put these opposite. That's too bright pink next to the red. Alright, so there you go. You can make one of these really simple and easy. Like I said, just make those 3 little masks, the hexagon, the flower, and those big leaves, and just follow the same steps that I did. And you can make the exact same card. I think they're beautiful. You can make them in all kinds of different colors, and I think it's a great way to use the framed occasion stamp set. Like I said, I would not have normally gotten this one, but just because I got it for one thing, like, look at the beauty it makes, and you can just go crazy with these cards. So I hope you guys will try it. Give it a try and see what kind of colors you come up with. I'd love to see what you make. So add a picture to the comments after you make one. Have a great rest of the day. We'll see you guys next time. Happy stamping!